Future positive. That's what happens when two guys with hockey backgrounds get together and talk about anything but their days in pro hockey. Ryan Walter, our featured guest on this edition of Leaders and Legends.
I was here in the city of Calgary the day the trade was announced that brought Ryan Walter and Rick Green to the Montreal Canadiens.
I have to thank the Lord. I have to do that, and I have to thank our wives. You know, they've been sitting at home for almost 2 months now for some of these guys, sitting there, nothing to do, but sort of nervous, and I just really thank them a lot.
You were working at this startup company, and this startup company was basically new, very highly competitive environment, and this company struggled, did it not?
Yeah,
struggling company, and the language within the company very negative. Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Just so you know, the story in question, that company in question, was the Washington Capitals.
Yes.
Ryan was second overall pick in the draft. He was captain in his second year.
Yeah.
But you went into a losing environment. The Capitals were not Stanley Cup champions.
No.
They were expansion. You know, they were an expansion team, and there was a lot of losing and negativity. Tell us the story, Ryan, about what happened when you got traded from Washington, when you were seen as one of the leaders, to a whole new culture.
Yeah, it's very good. So, in the struggling culture, we're calling them the Washington Capitals. Looking back, I really sensed, a culture. I would call it a language of blame. So we blamed other people. We off-let, our responsibility. People would point to other players. Not me, it's him. And in that concept of a culture of blame, it really zaps energy, right? Do you want to come to work every day? I don't think so. So I get traded. Jenny and I get traded. So I get a call. Here's how you get traded, just in case you ever need to get traded at the NHL level. David Poyle called me at 7 a.m. I'm just sort of haven't had coffee yet. And he said, "Good morning, Ryan. I've traded you." That was it.
Just like out of Moneyball.
Hardly remember who to. Didn't know who with. So then I get a call from Rick Green, and I go, "Oh, Greenie, I'm going to miss you." He said, I'm going with you. So we get traded to Montreal. We land in Dorval Airport for training camp. That day, the headline in the Montreal Gazette was "Worst Trade in NHL History."
That's right.
Right? They're a team that had come off 6 Stanley Cup wins in the 70s, and there was it wasn't a different player in that dressing room. It was a different atmosphere in that dressing room. It was full of confidence, yes, but it was really a language of what we call accountability, or I guess better words might be no excuses. So just find a way to win. That could be my favorite thought in hockey. Just find a way to win. So I'll give you an example, because you're an old hockey guy. In Montreal, I'm a centerman. The linesman drops a puck, and he doesn't drop it fair. It's on my opponent's stick, and he wins it. In Washington, I'm all over the linesman. Come on, drop it fair. Come on. Right. In Montreal, same thing happens. Drops the puck. My opponent wins the face-off. I'm just going to go after the linesman, and my own teammates come to me and go, no, Ryan. It's not the linesman's issue. Just find a way to win the faceoff. When we take accountability, personal accountability, everything changes. And what we learned over the years is it takes as much energy to blame as it does to have a personal accountability for the job you do. And I really think that is a big gap between teams that win and lose.
Do you remember the sign on the wall?
Oh yeah.
What did it say?
Oh yeah.
Right.
It was the torch.
The torch.
Yeah, you walk in and there's the torch. And then up on the wall are all the Hall of Fame players. So Rocket Richard's eyes used to stare at me. Like my little stall was here, and Rocket was, and he would just be looking at me, right? Some of these players are surreal. They're bigger than, I mean, these are guys I watched on TV. This is Guy Lafleur. So my roommate, I get traded to Montreal. My first roommate's Guy Lafleur. I mean, that's crazy, right? Larry Robinson, wonderful guy, full of energy, full of life. Bob Gainey, very stoic and an awesome leader. So these are the legends in that dressing room, that I remember.
Did the Stanley Cup eventually help you find vindication?
Yep, it did. I think it did personally for sure, because I wanted to win it anyway.
Right.
I'm a young Canadian kid. But I think the pressure came off Greeny and I there, because the Caps never really got to where they wanted to get. But the hardest part about life and sport is not to take it personally. Right? I wanted to be the best player I could be for the Montreal Canadiens.
So mental conditioning was basically baked in for you for a very early age. So for you, now when you work with companies and organizations and leadership teams, was the NHL your personal laboratory to test out a lot of theories?
100%, Garen. I had a chance to be a president and CEO of an AHL team in Abbotsford, and I think that from a business perspective, that allowed me to sort of bake in some of these things too. Sport is a great. I like the word you used. It's the incubator, but it's also the pressure cooker for life, right? Because everything is heightened. The next morning you can know the score. I mean, in business, it's the next quarter.
Right.
So I think that idea is where, that's where we learn, and people like to play in sport, and then we take it, obviously directly into their culture.
This theme about future positive, you're now bringing it, you and your wife Jenny are bringing a whole new way of thinking to companies, organizations, people, marriages. And I know you're really excited in the work that you do, which is why we're connecting here at a Denny's of all places. But tell us a little bit about kind of your journey to where this idea of future positive you think is so needed today.
It's really about the value that we can offer to people. And what we're finding is that a lot of people get stuck. A lot of companies get stuck. A lot of cultures get stuck. A lot of leaders get stuck. And what we're offering, what we're learning from, not only the NHL, but broadcasting and then time in business, is that there's a key word in leadership today around awareness. So we're really helping cultures, leaders, sales groups, whoever, to find the awareness of their mindset, of their thinking, of their heartbeat, and develop some language around it. And if you think about it, it's the direction that we want our life to go. It's believing in people. It's actually seeing what they can be, right? It's moving into a future that we want to create. So what we're finding is that people either move forward into that future positive, or they get stuck looking back into what we call past negative.
Okay, so in past negative, then, if I understand this correctly, is that what kicks in when inevitably bad news happens?
Totally.
You wake up, this happens, that happens. Well,
But there's the key component, and we call our session the leader's shift. Right. So the key word, the action word, is how do you, when you're in past negative, how do you, external circumstances hit us, the economy tanks,
something goes
right. So how do we shift into a game that allows us to be our best?
Ryan
Thanks,
Walter,
Garen.
the man behind Future Positive Thinking, that he and Jenny are making such a difference to people and companies and organizations throughout North America. Thanks so much for watching Leaders and Legends, where you'll never know who you're going to meet or what you'll discover.